Let's see. I think I am live. Just going to share this video really quickly. Let's see who's going to journey, this mysterious journey of our lives that is being presented to us in this moment. My Goddess Sanctuary, if you're welcome to join. This is a group for women. Okay, I'm going back to Zoom. All right, so we are live on Facebook through Zoom. So welcome. I don't know if I'll be able to see who's on or the comments unless I look at my phone. So we'll see how this works. Really my first time streaming live onto my personal page from Zoom. So yeah, I don't even know who is on. Maybe which is actually better. I'm just going to come on and deliver day 5 of 7 of the divine download that's been prompted for me to deliver during this time and to offer it as a way of a support in the mysterious, mystical way. So, together, more than 2, I believe, and I'm realizing why, for a lot of reasons. We just, and I'm feeling we're still in the energy of the Aries new moon, and this energy is the energy of awareness. For me, this was the energy of warrioress and also a warrior. So together, feminine and masculine, kind of in harmony, dancing as destruction and liberation for all in this moment. SHIVA, Kali energy, and a couple of others that I will speak about today. So before I begin, I'll introduce myself, as I haven't done that in the past 4 videos, assuming that whoever's watching me might know who I am, my friend or someone who follows my journey. So I am Anya Devi. I just recently changed my name into Devi, as that has been calling to me for a couple of years, and it's only been maybe like a month ago that I felt that I need to fully step into bringing forward my message in a way, and more so in the online space. I have been doing that, but now especially more than ever. And I am a yoga teacher, and also amongst many other things, I consider myself to be an embodied feminine leader and a teacher of divine feminine wisdom. I'm always a student, and whenever I teach, I am also a student to whatever is coming through me in that time. So I'm always honoring and always have so much gratitude in my heart for whatever teaching is coming through my body, this person, this vessel, however we see ourselves. And for me, my soul truly speaks through this body. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about Aries. Well, not so much Aries, but Aries as a new moon that just came to us yesterday, and an energy of warrior and warrioress opens up a gateway to a tremendous action, a gateway to lean forward, to stretch ourselves, to go within, to go towards the fear that is within, and to recognize the mystery that stands behind. And I've been hearing a lot of online spiritual leaders in the online community speak pretty much about same thing in their own unique different languages, and it makes me um, it makes me feel at peace that I'm not the only one feeling the way I'm feeling. And I have been journaling a lot recently on all the symbolism and all the things that are happening and how it's really been happening for a long time in our lives, not just our lives, but our ancestors and all the generations that came before us, all the people that came before us throughout our bloodlines or each other. And so this energy of the warrior and warrioress, it's like an energy of sacred rage, an energy of sacred destruction in order for new rebirth. And when I journal, I don't just mean journal about thoughts and we're at this time. I'm not sure if my internet is holding up. So through my teachings, I go a lot into symbolism and understanding our way of life in a internal, more of a spiritual, higher conscious understanding and wisdom of the divine message, of the divine lesson of the whole story. So coming back to the warrior and warrioress and the Aries is like a threshold for us to step through, to step over, and remember now in this moment, the Aries is the first house in the zodiac belt, and this is the zodiac belt of protection. And this brings us back to the ancient times when the people who lived, our ancestors who lived long ago, used the sky as a map when they had nothing to interfere, no lights with actually seeing the whole picture. And so Aries brings us in as this powerful energy that initiates a new way of the zodiac year that is coming upon us as we are entering into Aries. And this warrior energy reminds us and has reminded us for generations of our strength and bravery. And we can come into deep relationship with our internal world, with our own internal battles, because now we are all in this internal battle of what is happening around us externally. So we are being initiated into a way of empowerment, of bravery, courage, strength of the heart, and into the mystery of the zodiac signs and all their symbols if you're following the zodiac signs. And so Aries truly welcomes us into this empowering new beginning and new ways of being, a new change for all of us. So you can visualize a circle of protection around you in the form of the zodiac signs. You can visualize yourself right in the center. And also the protection circle of all the directions, the north, the east, the south, the west, all the elements that come with the directions, the earth, the air, the fire, the water, all the openness of air, you welcoming the protection of the earth, this circle of fire that rises around us, and also the deep waters of the West, and the subconscious wisdom of the West. And welcome yourself into this protection space as we go into this mystical journey with me tonight. And choose your own angels, your own deities, your own gods, goddesses, Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, the earth, however you feel. I guess for all of us, we have our own individual, unique way of understanding of this power above. Energy could be nothing. So mysteries is always, for me, mystery in myth of poetry and myths have always held a special place. When I first started learning yoga, one of my first teachers, Nikki Baker, she loved the myths, and she's the one that introduced me to many myths behind the poses, as well as I've done a lot of my own studies. And we're talking about the myths behind the warrior today in the yoga tradition, and the powerful of warrior pose. The warrior also comes in as that protective circle around that you can envision yourself, and visualize yourself inside that circle of fire, circle of water, and see yourself seated and allow yourself to have this sense of peace, that you are protected, that you are in the center of the safe space, your home, your sisterhood, brotherhood, whatever it is, and let that sense of deep peace in your heart, a deep feeling of protection all around you. Just looking at Facebook. Turn this down. Thank you for being here. If you're here with me, as we are about to journey, I sometimes, I am such an introvert. I feel like I am an introvert. And when I'm around a big crowd of people, I often may not know what to say unless I am leading that crowd of people. And also, when I'm speaking like this, often I will go back and I'm not sure who is really speaking, because often it's really not me. It's something bigger than me. Anyway, so we find that divine power as we sit in that circle of protection. You can visualize yourself here. Feel that you are supported and surrounded by source, by energy, by higher consciousness, by the stars, by the sun, by the moon, by fire, by water, by earth, by air, above, below, the whole universe, the whole cosmos. Something that is so unexplainable, mystical, and also this mysterious energy that seems to be magical and seems to be like wind and rain and nature, Mother Nature herself. It feels like a storm that we can go in the center of the storm and be the eye within the storm. This feels like the moonlight of the new moon, just a shimmering reflection of the darkness of the deep forest lake. So just coming into this really mysterious way of being within yourself, awaken the magic within your own understanding and your own knowing of our own deep ancient wisdom, our own cellular memories of simply being present in the moment now, whether this moment is of joy or maybe this moment is of pain. And we are flowing in this journey today from grounding first video I shared, the grounding energy of Mother Durga, from our legs and feet that we've grounded into the earth, into and through the healing waters of Saraswati, which was the video 4, through the fire ignition of Kali, the transformational Kali fire that we introduced to in video number 3. And then we fly through the inspiring air, and the air was video number 2. So just really moving through the elements in our body. And now we are ready to expand up above, through the throat, through up into the crown, and we are going all the way up into the crown of our head. And we bring our awareness up towards the sky, into the ethers, the element of consciousness, the element of cosmos, the universe, and towards this abundance of the energy above, this abundance energy of the sky, of heaven, almost like this masculine energy. And it is, to me, this is a masculine energy of Shiva, that abides in the crown chakra. So we turn towards our heavenly abode, whatever that is in your mind's eye, and to all the celestial beings, to the flying dakinis, to all the stars, to all the star people, to all the falling stars, to all the constellations in the sky, to the energy that's emanating down from the power of our own awareness. So we're not simply just turning outward to the sky, but also we are turning to the awareness that's in our crown chakra, the awareness that Shiva himself represents. Because even if we visualize all the deities out there, all the idols, all the pictures of them, it doesn't matter. They're not really energies out there. They're not someone else out there. There's not this magical creature that lives in heaven. All of these energies are all within us. They're all within our soul. They're all within our body. They're all within our heart, our mind, our breath, our energy. So we can turn inwards completely, 100%, full on, deep dive. So we raise our inner lotus, third eye, to see the impossible and never before seen miracles and manifestations of all of our dreams and desires for ourselves into the world. This is the place where the thoughts drop in. This is the place where our dreams are born internally before they make their way all the way down and are born externally. So we ourselves rise to continue to grow and to know the truth. The truth inside our minds, the truth inside our body, of our hearts, of our souls, the truth of our own purpose and the truth of what we are here to fulfill in this mortal life or in this moment of our lives. So we finally arrive into the state of awakened gratitude and awareness. This is a very potent space that we're in, just feeling the gratitude. The gratitude means that it already happened. So how can we feel into something that's already happened? That purpose. I'm going to play this music again. This is a Kali mantra 108 times. Oh no, this is not it. Okay, just sets the mood for me, the warrioress mood, even if you can't hear it. So yeah, when we are in this gratitude space, we welcome ourselves into our mind, and we can ease the mind to allow for healing to take place. And notice how your body feels in this space of awareness and gratitude. Feel yourself, like I'm going to just speak some words and allow yourself to feel into them, kind of jumping one from one to another. Feel yourself upstairs. Feel yourself rising up the spiral staircase. Feel yourself as a guest inside a castle, the guest of your mind, of your consciousness, of your subconsciousness. Feel things ending. Feel things beginning. Feel any new cycle, new awakening, more knowledge. Feel yourself as if you are a seeker. You are a visionary. You're practicing yoga currently with your mind. Feel the ego, feel the guru, pride, protection. Feel yourself proud, justice, truth, father. Feel yourself as a parent in any way. Feel tranquility, destruction, celestial kingdom, sky or heaven above. All of these words really attune us to that energy of awareness, the Shiva energy of the Sahasrara, the crown chakra, the energy of mercy, dignity, also insanity, energy of Christ consciousness, energy to serve the earth, to be devoted to the earth, as be devoted to the feminine, be devoted to the divine feminine, in service, being devoted to all of humanity. Feel the great potential of your choices, of your bravery, of your courage, of your purpose, of truth. Feel the reflection of yourself, the mirror reflection of yourself in the earth, the sky and the earth, and you can see your reflection in a lake or in the ocean. So just really feeling into this element of ether, akasha, these records that come from above, that pour down on our lives as knowledge, as wisdom we can tune into. The energy of cosmos. So this is direction of above, transcendence, liberation, full, conscious, open, and illuminated experience of your life, this most rich experience of this present moment that we can have now, even through this transmission. The seasons here are all seasons. Here we can feel the spring, the summer, the fall, the winter, and we connect to everything that is present in this moment now, to all hours of the day, to all 24/7, no matter what. we can come into this consciousness and we can receive the new information, the self-knowledge deep from within. We connect to the masculine awareness. Shiva also, he is the Lord of destruction and liberation. So we connect to that freedom within. Shiva rides upon a sacred bull, and this bull is a representation of a gateway or a gatekeeper of the inner temple. When we turn in with so much joy and satisfaction that we're finally here, we finally landed, we finally found ourselves, we finally woke up. So this is also a place for 1,000-petal lotus, 1,000-fold. And the archetypes that are alive here are the egoist and the guru. So the ego is someone who is following the ego mind, the power of the ego. And then also the guru is someone who is a teacher, the wise teacher within, that inner wisdom within. And the egoist has no acknowledgement of higher force. So if we don't think there's anything higher than us, okay, the egoist is kind of present. And the egoist relies only on his or her own ego and their own sole cause of its experience. So everything that happens is caused by the egoist. And the guru knows that negativity is a fear expressed outward. Negativity, when we're negative, it's any fear expressed outward, and that all negativity is an illusion created by the mind, by the limited mind, limited thinking, limiting beliefs, limiting conditioning to protect and defend itself. All negativity, all fear is an illusion to defend and protect itself. So just coming from that place of wisdom, the shadow here in this space is attachment. When we attach to things and people and we become needy, where we, in the wisdom, we can realize that we all belong together and there's no need for attachment. So Virabhadra, okay, let's go into the story. I'm not gonna do, Virabhadra's mantra is Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. This divine mantra invokes Shiva in his most wrathful form of the warrior, his most fearsome and fearless form of Rudra, the one who howls. We can cultivate with this mantra the most heroic, tremendous strength within ourselves, where we dare, where we become so brave that we dare to dream and to bring those dreams into reality, as all of our dreams are pretty much our purpose. So just, I hope that you are connected to this beautiful energy of the warrior. And we are going into this myth and mystery. Thank you for watching. And we're about to begin the story. I know I've said that already a couple of times, but we're truly going into it. So you can close your eyes here. You can be in that crown chakra. So just choose to be in your consciousness, in your higher consciousness, in your higher self, in your visionary self, in your mysterious self, the mystic within each one of us. So just feel into that space. Maybe take a couple of breaths. and feel this myth as if it's happening within you and also within each one of us and also with this world, and connect to every character that shows up for you, relating in a negative or positive way, seeing the inner teacher or the inner ego mind. So once upon a time, Lord Shiva, who is one of the three Hindu deities, he's the Lord of destruction and liberation. He was meditating upon the mountain, and he goes in such deep practices that his internal world begins to catch on fire, begins to burn with tapasya. Tapasya means this fire of your practice, dedication and commitment to sadhana. So the heat of this practice began to burn him from within, and he began to burn so much that this fire began to burn all around him, and he began destroying and burning everything around him. So the gods, and as they always do, got together to decide what they can do or what can be done to stop this destruction from overtaking all of the worlds. And they of course invoke the mother goddess. Who do we go to when we are in need? We go to our mothers in some way. Invoking the mother goddess, they pray to her to help them to save the world from this fierce, intense practice of Shiva. And so the goddess appeared, and she revealed herself as this womb space for Shiva's fire, as an open vessel that holds the water within herself. As our womb, as women, we hold this water to nourish our babies, or the water that is within each one of us. As we connect to that inner feminine, the inner feminine that has been passed on to us for generations from our mothers, we connect to that wisdom of the of the waters, wisdom of the womb space, wisdom of the yoni that puts out Shiva's fire, that puts out that the fire of the masculine in a way. If you've ever sat in okay, now that word skipped my mind. I'll have to come back to that. So the mother came, and in her yoni, she dissolved that fire of Shiva, and she saved all the worlds from the destruction. So at this time, gods already knew that Shiva needed a feminine. He needed a wife or a consort to hold his fire contained without destroying the whole world. But they also knew that it will require the same amount of fire or fierce power to match his intensity and his powerful energy. So the goddess again revealed herself to all the gods as this goddess named Chinnamasta. And she is the energy of contradiction. She is the life giver and also life taker. She's a symbol of sexual self-control, and she invokes the sacred sexual creative energy and her gifts. She symbolizes life, destruction, death. She also symbolizes immortality. When our souls can live forever, our energy can go on. Energy never dies. She also symbolizes rebirth and recreation, something new, a change. And her gifts are of spiritual awakening and the uncoiling of the sacred Kundalini power within. Her weapon is a sword, and she cuts off her own head, and as she holds her own head in one hand, her mouth is open and the blood that's gushing through her neck She's drinking that blood from her neck as Chinnamasta self-sacrifices, self-destroys. She's the energy of maternal and sexual essence. She also knows that she is a perfect match to Shiva's destructing energy. She's committed to her practices, and her tapasya burns as fierce as Shiva's. So she is reborn on earth as goddess Sati, and to a father who does not like Shiva, because Shiva is destruction and he's covered in ash and he lives in the cremation grounds and he's surrounded by goblins and demons and souls and spirits and ghosts, and he's constantly burning everything to ash, and that's not what Daksha, Sati's father, wanted for his daughter. And as soon as she's born, she immediately knows that her purpose is to find and to love her sacred masculine, her Shiva. And as she grows older, she also undergoes these practices of fire within herself. As a yogini, she takes on tapasya practices to be the equal with Shiva, to be the mirror reflection of Shiva and his tremendous fire of destruction. So Shiva and Sati get married in the story. And her father does everything possible to ignore and disrespect and dishonor Shiva in many of his ways, disregard his son-in-law like he doesn't even exist. And one time he created this fire, or he hosted this fire festival, and he invited every single person on the earth, all the gods and goddesses, and except for Shiva and Sati. So Sati found out and became enraged and became and against Shiva's desires, she went into the fire festival and produced 10 more goddesses of wisdom, the ancient great goddesses that came and created all kinds of havoc and destruction upon the festival. So she was so furious and also so felt disrespected and dishonored that she went into the fire and she burned herself as the self-sacrificing wife of Shiva. And in this life as well, we can see so many self-sacrificing women burning themselves in the fire of disrespect and dishonor from whoever, their father, their spouses. In this case, it was the father energy. And so at this moment of her destruction, as she burned herself in the flame, this whole world began to shake, and the whole world began to tremble. And in this moment, Lord Shiva knew, he knew that what has happened. And in his whole being, he also began to tremble and shake, and he began to feel so much pain and sorrow and grief and anger. And as he began to shake and tremble with his whole internal world, causing lightning and thunder in the sky and storms and earthquakes upon the earth, he also began to blaze like never before. And he once again became so destructive in his own force of nature. And in his sacred rage, he tore off the lock of his dreadlock and threw it on the ground. And out of this lock rises this most incredible, powerful, greatest warrior I've ever seen, Virabhadra. And this warrior rises from the deepest, most sacred power of Shiva. His sorrow, his pain, his despair, his darkness, and he begins to howl to all of the worlds from the place of grief, from the place of wrath, from the place of agony. And he rises as tall as heaven, and he's as dark as the midnight sky. And his hair is blazing with flames, and his third eye is burning with fury. And he's wearing bloody garland made of skulls, and in his hands he's holding the most terrifying, unfathomable weapons of destruction. His unimaginable anger overpowered Shiva, and he produced fever and numerous other diseases alongside the ghosts and goblins that came along with millions of ganas of Shiva. And they went to the fire festival. The Virabhadra made his trip to the fire festival of Daksha, and with his wrath and his rage, Virabhadra burns and destroys everything to the ground. Bhadrakali, his faithful consort, the most fierce form of the goddess Kali, of the warrioress, who also rose out of this anger alongside Virabhadra, who is also a mirror reflection of the feminine wrath and the feminine sacred rage. She finally beheaded Daksha's head. And in this moment, Shiva himself appears at the festival of fire. As often we ourselves return to our senses and we return to our mind as that calm awareness within, and he sees the destruction that this warrior has caused, and the army that he brought with him. And in that moment, he absorbs the warrior within himself. He absorbs all these energies of destruction into himself. And he transforms into Hara, the ravisher. And he's now filled with not only anger and wrath, but he's also filled with grief and sorrow, and also with mercy and compassion. And Shiva goes to Daksha's body, beheaded body, and he gives him the head of the goat, and he brings him back to life as devotion as the devotion to the union of this masculine sacred rage and the feminine sacred rage. And then Shiva also goes to the body of his beloved Sati, and he picks her up into his arms, her lifeless body, and he carries her out into the whole cosmos. And he begins to cry and he begins to howl in his agony and his outrage of dishonor, injustice, disrespect, death, self-sacrifice. And his heart is filled with so much pain and grief as he howls and as he carries her across the universe. So this story will continue soon. I will come back to this to transition and to transform from this grief, from this agony, from this sorrow into what will unfold. So I invite you to just gently return into the crown chakra, returning to your awareness, the awareness of Shiva, the awareness of your third eye space, that ether space of truth. And I want to finish this by saying that Virabhadra, this warrior energy of Shiva, and also Bhadra Kali, this warrior energy of Kali, or the Kali Ma, the mother energy, as the father and mother energies can come together, is to show us our intense inner energies of courage and bravery inside each one of us, to be brave enough to rise and to go inside the fire of everything and anything that we're ever facing. And now, in these challenging moments that we're faced with, we can tune into this powerful energy of the warriors, warrioress, and the warrior. And the warrior now, Virabhadra, is calling to us now, so we may have the courage to go inside and do our deep practices of that self-knowledge from that inner teacher, to dive and to face whatever is present, and to have the power to destroy all that we're trying to run away from, all that we can place into the fire, and we can place into the fumes, and we can fuel this fire with our courage and bravery, and the parts of ourselves that have maybe possibly been afraid up until this point. And this energy truly helps us transform every single part of ourselves through illusion, through the truth, through the pain, through the sorrow, and through any injustice that we may be feeling that are happening inside ourselves and also in the external world. So the warrior, the Virabhadra, is calling us to go inside the heart and into the most center of our practices, those tapasyas, the heat practices of the fire. And in this space, Virabhadra and Bhadrakali together have this dance of destruction, slicing the heads of anything that dishonors love, that dishonors truth, together, and holding one another as the container that one is holding and one is destroying. And then they take turns, one is holding, one is destroying, and then they dance together, and then they also together bring that calm and peace and mercy and compassion into the whole container. So at this time, I invite you to ask yourself, how can you be the warrior of justice within your own self? How can you apply the sacred rage of pain and sorrow into your own inner world or your life? How can you apply this courage and bravery of Virabhadra? What can you rise within yourself? What can you stand up for within yourself at this time, for yourself in whatever way? So thank you for tuning in tonight. I will be back with more soon. Stay tuned. You're welcome to go back and watch the other 4 transmission calls that came before this one. And I invite you to tune in into the mystery, into the myths of your own soul, and be present with what is. And remember who you are. Divine magic. Thank you. Namaste. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace to all.